Okay. I'll go ahead and get started. We're doing 3 sessions this afternoon, and feel free to go and come as you please. My name is Mike Riley. I work with Google News Labs. I also work with a website called MediaShift.org, where we do a lot of trainings and hackathons and things like that. Over the next 3 hours, we're going to play with some Google tools, look at some different things. I'll demo a couple of them and show you how to do stuff with fusion tables. The tools are really well suited to small newsrooms or 1 or 2 person shops. So I think Lion's a really, really good fit for it. You don't need to have a graphics staff to build an interactive graphic on your website. I'll show you some other non-Google tools, that's a word, non-Google tools as well. We'll get the low-tech stuff out of the way first, my Word document up here. Whenever I do these presentations, I always like to take and put all of the links and resources we have on one page, so you're not sitting there trying to write down 20 URLs or things like that. I don't have to repeat it 100 times. So I put all of our resources from today's presentation and more. There's a few other things up there on MikeRiley.com. Weird spelling. It's R-E-I-L-L-E-Y. You can either write that down or take a picture of it. If you want to book a training for your newsroom, Google News Lab training, it's priced right. It's free. Google's invested about $400,000 in this program to send people around the country and do these trainings. All they ask is that you have a minimum of 25 people in the training. And what we found is that some newsrooms have 25 people they can bring in. I'm doing one in Las Vegas on Tuesday where we just got all of the Las Vegas media together in one place. It's the Review Journal, it's all the TV stations. So if you partner up with maybe your SPJ chapter in your area, one of the universities or something, you can bring everybody together and do it. And again, it's priced right, it's free. Usually we need about a week head start to do it. So spj.org/google.asp. So if you want to schedule one, there's 12 trainers around the country. You can request one, or Chris Vachon, who runs the program for SPJ. It's a partnership with Google and SPJ.
Those are in person?
What's that?
That's an in-person training?
That's in person. And the cool thing about the in-person trainings, today we're just doing little 50-minute segments. With those, I did one for Mid-America Press Institute on Wednesday out of the Arlington Times paper. 7 hours we go. And you can go come as you please. But we do more hands-on, more deep dive stuff than I can do here. Here I kind of show you the tools and we talk about practical applications of. There you have your laptop and your Charlie Brown and you're just really hammering it out. So in-person trainings. We do a few webinars here and there off the SPJ website. We'll do one probably next month on Google Earth. If you follow me on Twitter, I'll send it out a bunch of times. And also, and this is the fun part of it, tinyurl.com/SPJ Google. It will take you to a big, long URL and a form. It's an evaluation form to evaluate today's presentations and all that kind of stuff. And it will do this on the honor system if you promise to fill out the form and you throw your business card in my 0-3 Chicago Bears hat up here, you will be eligible to win. We'll do a drawing at the end of the day. A Google Cardboard kit. Google Cardboard allows you to do VR right on your phone. You can embed your little Google camera or your smartphone and put it right in there. Use it like a viewfinder to see 360-degree panoramas and watch 360 video. And I'll show you an app a little later on where you can create your own photos for that and audio presentations. So everybody got this picture or got it written down? Okay, so make sure you fill out the evaluations because they like that. So this is MediaShift, MediaShift.org. It's run by a guy by the name of Mark Glaser, who I've worked for about 6 months now. We're in the process of transitioning the site. I'm the business director for it. Transitioning the site into partnership with a large media outlet. It was with PBS for a number of years. He broke away and has had a lot of success on his own. In fact, so much success that more funders are coming to him and asking him for more work, and he doesn't have enough people to do it, so he wants to do a partnership. It's a good problem to have. So MediaShift is really helpful. We do a lot of online trainings, and there's a lot of how-to things. It covers the digital revolution, kind of the how-to of digital journalism. Great way to pick up resources. We do a lot of Twitter chats, podcasts, all kinds of fun things. So mediashift.org. My Twitter handle is @JournToolbox. So the Journalist Toolbox has been housed at SPJ the last 9 years. Site's been around 20 years. It'll celebrate its 20th anniversary in December. And journalisttoolbox.org has been housed at SPJ and API before that, Progressive before that. I share all things journalism on this Twitter handle, so feel free to follow along. And like I say, anytime something's come up with a Google News Lab training or a webinar or something, I'll tweet it out over this account. So here's the form that I mentioned earlier about if you want to order set up a session for your newsroom or your community, and they have bios of all the trainers. It goes over all the tools and stuff that we can come in and train you on. You can kind of select what you want us to come in and teach for that 6, 7, 8 hour period. So this is the evaluation form, the tiny URL one. It's real short, short and sweet. You can knock it out in about 5 minutes. I showed you that URL earlier to MikeReilly.com. This is the Google News Lab page. Everything I show you today is linked off this page, so you don't have to sit there and jot down all the URLs and all the tools and stuff. I put up all the presentations I'll show, or up here the presentation decks. Feel free to take these and use these, train people in your newsrooms, on your teams, what's mine is yours. That's why I put it up there for free. We've got practice data up there on mass shootings and homicides and Chicago potholes, which is always a fun subject around here. All kinds of fun stuff we can do with data. We've got some data scraping tools, which I'll demo a little later. All kinds of fun stuff here. And down at the end, I've got a list of apps, too, that are good for iOS and for Android. So we won't do a lot with those today, but if you have me come in and do an in-person training, I can come in and we do a session on nothing but how to use all these mobile tools and turn your phone into a newsroom. Really, really cool resources. So that's the MikeReilly.com page. So I'll jump right in with the Google Basics session. We're starting off with the basic stuff first. And I usually talk about Google Trends, Google Translate, and then jump into Google Image, reverse image lookup, and verification, fact-checking type of stuff. And so we'll zip right through this. I'll do a little demo of some of the tools. It's kind of fun. I mentioned my Twitter account earlier. Another good follow is @Google News Lab. Anytime you create something using one of the Google tools, tweet it to their Twitter handle. They'll share it over their Twitter network. And they'd love to see how you guys are using those tools. Once a year, we get to go. David went with us last April out to the mothership at Google, and we get to sit with all the developers and talk about the tools. They show us new stuff and things they're working on. I'll show you a couple things they have in beta in a little bit. But what they're curious about, these developers are brilliant people, but they're not journalists. They don't know how to, they know code, they don't know practical applications and storytelling the way you do. So what we do is we gather a lot of information from you during these sessions, what works, what doesn't work. I got an email from a guy the other day with a suggestion about one of the tools. Hey, that's awesome. Pass along to Google. So it's kind of a two-way street, two-way communication. And also my email address up there in newslab support@google.com. And again, these are on the presentation slides. Google News Lab support's great because they get back to you within 24 hours. It's not one of those where your email goes into nowhere. There's actually a human on the other end whose job in a couple of them to make sure these questions get answered. At MikeReilly1@gmail.com. If you're not having any luck, just let me know, and I'll get hold of it. Real quickly, while we're here, I'll talk about unfiltered.news, Google Trends, and Google Translate. What we're doing with Google News Lab, we're doing outreach in 3 kind of key areas with programs, and tools and data. The 2 on the left and right are the ones we'll really focus on today. Next slide is, this is just a little short link to the Google News Lab homepage, g.co/newslab. And you can go there, and it's just kind of the housing spot for all things Google News Lab. It's got tutorials, photos, videos, all kinds of things like that. Google Trends, google.com/trends. And anytime I give you a URL like this, it also works as trends.google.com, so either one will get you there to the site. Google Trends, it tracks what people are searching for. Google found that their algorithm spits back information to them about people that are typing into their search engine. And they've got all this data, these mounds of data, and they had to try to find a way to do something. So they created this cool tool called called Google Trends, and it allows us to track what people are looking for in Google. It doesn't track Bing or Yahoo or any of the others. But as you can see, there's just this large volume of searches going on, so you can really have some fun with it. This is the interface for Google Trends. We'll actually do a couple searches. You can search down to the city level right now. Usually each state, you can search every state, several countries, and then they haven't got it down to the zip code yet. But I've heard a rumor that they're working on that, getting it down to zip code level and possibly the county level. And what this interface does is it gives you kind of 3 or 4 really hot trending topics at the top. And visualize it. Creates a little graph based on how many people are searching for this subject at this certain point in time. And then it lists, some of the top trending subjects here, which is nice because they kind of pre-make these for you. The real power in it comes in this little search field up at the top. You can create your own searches. So if you want to see how many, which Kardashian kid is most popular in Google search, you can type all 6, 7, 8, however many there are, names in, and you can track how they're doing. A good practical use of this for journalists is with the election. We did this hands-on the other day, and we started tracking some of the congressmen that are running for re-election. And what a couple of people found, they were out in Arlington Heights reporters, they found one of the people that's running had this sudden spike in people searching that person's name. And they looked at the date, they go, well, that wasn't during a primary or anything. And so they're starting to dig now and look, why were people searching for this guy's name at this certain point in time? And was there something going on with it? So it's kind of a good roadmap to what are people looking at a certain moment in time. And the data goes back to 2004. You can search down to the last 7 minutes. That's how often it's updated. So you can really narrow your searches down to a specific city over a certain period of time, very tight period of time, which is really nice. You can create these visualizations. They're easily embedded into your website or linked to out of it. Just to remember that Google Trends reports an index of search activity. It's a normalized number. It doesn't give you the exact number of searches, but it's measuring how many people have searched for this term, Donald Trump, against the number of searches that are going on at that point in time. So the number can go up and down. Let's say it's 3 a.m. and a lot of people are searching for Trump, and there's not that many people searching for anything else. That number's going to spike a little bit more. Question?
Just a quick question. Is that search accessing the same or different data than, say, if you're in AdWords in the tools and you're doing like a keyword planner?
Yeah, it's different. These are searches for searches in the main Google.com interface. Yeah, that's what these are. You can break it down. When I show you the interface, you'll see you can break it down by certain topic areas, certain subtopic areas of business, arts and culture, and things like that. But what it's tracking is the main Google search field. Here's the examples are really the best ones here. This is during the House gun control sit-in. You see in a Periscope sit-in, flat line, Then you get to see a little action here, and then it spikes right around the time it was really hot in the news, so people were searching for this. You can see this spike. You can take and embed this graphic into your page. This is an interesting one that showed searches for measles, which is the blue line, versus the flu, which is the red line. The flu's cyclical. We all know the flu season. And a lot of people search, as there's an increase in it. Measles is a pretty flat line. It's not real common anymore, but we begin to see this gradual increase. The measles outbreak, and it actually outdid the number of searches on the flu. So it's kind of a cool little graphic. This is one we did a few weeks ago when Pokemon got really hot right after the 4th of July holiday. And, I saw my nephew who's looking for Pokemon Go tips in Google one day. and put it up against something. You can compare these radical things that have nothing in common. You can see Pokemon Go actually surpassed porn, which is the number 2 activity on the web behind social media. Porn was number 1 up until 2010, and then social media surpassed it. So again, Pokemon Go got really hot there, and I need to actually see how it's done in the last few months. Do another tracking of it. This is one of my favorite ones. This is Breaking Bad versus Better Call Saul. They tracked over the last 24 hours who was searching more for Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. And Better Call Saul is very popular apparently in the Pacific Northwest and New York State. So there's a couple ties, Wyoming and Alaska. What's going on there? I don't know. This was the Upstart blog from the New York Times, and they did a fun one. I thought this was really cool to do around Thanksgiving. They searched in each state how many searches there were on certain recipes. So they showed the top Thanksgiving recipes searched in each state. And then they mapped it. They didn't create this in Google Trends. They actually drew it up in Illustrator. You can see some of the interesting ones. Illinois was Hawaiian salad. Don't know what's going on out in Colorado. Frog eye salad, turkey enchiladas in Arizona. All kinds of funny, kind of silly stuff. But made for a fun little look at Thanksgiving. The Guardian did a fun one. They looked at the most popular questions that were being asked about each of the political candidates. And it's funny sometimes to see, especially with breaking news, what is your audience asking of Google at that time? They want to learn more about a subject. And they were asking things like, how tall is this candidate? Is this candidate actually British? All kinds of really crazy stuff. It's very important too during breaking news to look at some of the questions and following at Google Trends, the Twitter handle for Google is incredible. They share all kinds of really cool findings out of Google Trends there. And this is one that they did right as the South Carolina shooting was breaking. It's a little hard to read, but it's asking questions like in Google Top 5 list. This is the 5 most popular questions people are asking in Google about the South Carolina shooting. How many people died in the shooting? Where was the church shooting? Are people staying calm after the shooting? Who is the suspect? And what was the motive of the hate crime? So if you look at this, the audience is asking these questions of Google. Who, what, where, why. The fundamentals of journalism. And they're asking those fundamental questions. And I think you can really look at trends as a way to better understand your audience, especially if you can see the data that's down at the county or the zip code level, or at the very least, the city level or state level. You can see how people are curious about this because it can vary. People in South Carolina might have been asking different questions. This was the whole U.S. That they were majoring here, and they put it up on Google Trends Twitter handle. And you can tweet stuff at them; they'll share it for you as well. And any of these Google graphics that you generate, they're free to use in any way. You can embed them on your website, you attach them to a tweet, whatever you want to do with them, they're yours. It's the same way with Google Earth and Google Maps. All those images have watermark in the lower right-hand corner. All Google asks is to delete the watermark on the images, and they're yours. And if you do have to crop the watermark off, you can just put a little credit on it underneath. Credit. Another side I wanted to mention, this is still in beta. Google's trying to figure out what they want to do with this. It's called Unfiltered News. What it does is tracks Google News data and how many people are going to news stories off of Google News. What are the most popular ones? You can break it down by country, which is kind of cool. And I'll show you Unfiltered News in a little bit. It's still, they're still kind of working out some of the details with it. Google Translate, great desktop app, even better phone app. How many of you have ever used Translate? Okay, a few of you. Yeah, really good tool, especially if you're traveling and you don't speak the language. My wife and I are going to Italy in 6 months, and we were just booking it, and I'm like, I don't speak Italian. damn, I'm good at using this a lot. So what I can do with it is I can record somebody talking, translate the Italian into English. So if I'm asking directions, I can communicate with that person over the app. The other thing I can do is if I'm walking along and I see a sign, I can point my camera at it in the Google Translate app, and it will give me a pretty good translation of what that sign says, or whatever that text says. So the mobile app, I think, is really even better than the desktop version, which is translate.google.com. And I'll demo this for you in a little bit and show you a couple things you can do with the desktop version that make it really nice. It's an iPhone and Android app for your phone. We're not going to put it to the test. We are going to play with the tools right now. So this is Google Trends, and as I mentioned earlier, it's got a couple of hot trends up here. The NFL season, Oktoberfest apparently has been quite popular. You can go in and open these up and look through them and see a breakdown of it with all kinds of different topics and types of charts. Shows search interest in Oktoberfest, of course, through Germany and some of the European countries. Has more detailed information down here. These are graphics that Google has pre-made for you. That's great. But what if I want to create my own? Okay, it gives me this interface, and this little graphic will appear here in a minute. It'll show interest since October of 2011 to present on a normalized statistic of how many people have been looking at searching for Hillary Clinton on Google. Okay, so it goes up naturally, she's running for president. And that's worldwide. Here is where all the action happens. I can go down here, go to the United States, I can go to many other countries, I can go down to the state level, and I want to go to Illinois, and I want to go maybe a little deeper and go down into Chicago. It also has some border states too, Davenport, Iowa, Evansville, Indiana, some smaller towns in the border states. And interest in the last 5 years in Hillary. I can narrow it down from 5 years to the last 90 days. Okay? And as we mentioned earlier, he asked about AdWords. You can search in here and see what categories, this number will change, based on, were people searching in games, people searching in shopping, real estate, pets and animals, so on. But, I just keep it the generic one here. And you can do web search. You can see YouTube search if people have been looking for videos of Hillary. People have been searching in Google News more for her than they are under regular Google search. Best part of this tool is this little field up here called Compare. You compare her with her opponent. This would be a fun thing to do, maybe on a state level for some of your local candidates and see who's looking at these candidates and, when over the last 90 days. You can kind of see, around the conventions, each got their own bump, Republican convention, Dems. Then it kind of flatlined, got a little quiet. Now it's heating up a little more during the debates. As the debates go in real time, Google puts out a animated chart that tracks the candidates and how popular they are in search down to the last 7 minutes throughout the debate. So you can embed that on your site and you'll be able to see Hillary surges ahead, then Donald takes over, then Hillary, it's animated, so you can really kind of see it develop in real time, which is really, really cool. Question? I saw you come up.
Can you break that down by county?
Not yet. County and zip code is the next step, and I get that question all the time, and I actually asked my boss about it a couple weeks ago, and he goes, that's the next step for this. This is something that the developers are looking at. But you can get it down to the state level, and then typically for most states, the 5 larger cities, you can narrow it down to the city level, which is still pretty good. I think the fact that it goes state level is great for the time being. But the day that is coming, we'll be able to get down to zip and down to zip code and possibly to the neighborhood.
And eventually to the house level.
Yeah. What did somebody sitting in my backyard search for in the last 7 minutes? And then they'll map you and put you on a little pinpoint to get out. Another question I saw some other things. Yeah.
So this is just any search that contains Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump.
Right.
It's not necessarily what people are asking. It's just
Right. But you can add that in. You can do Hillary Clinton in emails, Donald Trump and the wall, and do a more detailed and see those spikes and those peaks and valleys. So yeah, it doesn't have to just be that one subject. You can combine them.
And how many, like, could you add, let's say, Barack Obama and then someone else?
Oh yeah, I can keep going.
You can keep going?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can add, with Jill O'Brien, Green Party, yeah, I could add Jill O'Brien too. Keep going and going and going. So, yeah, what's that? Yeah, Howard Stern, I can add. Like we did with one of my students not too long ago, did all the Kardashian kids. We were playing around with it. It was actually kind of interesting because Kim, you think Kim would be in front, and no, here's Chloe out of nowhere, and it's just the pop culture stuff's really fun. We were doing one of these at the SBJ convention a couple weeks ago when the news of the Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie divorce, it broke during the session, and you just saw it skyrocket. I mean, it was just a straight line going up for both their names. We're like, oh man, But you can, during the Charlotte protests not long ago, this would have been a great tool to see what were people asking about at the Charlotte level, at the city level, or state level in North Carolina, versus nationally or internationally. It's a really good tool for tracking that. Very easy to embed. You can share it. You can also download data, the CSV files. Every once in a while, I get one that won't allow me to do it. But by and large, you have the CSV option. You can share over your Twitter, Facebook, and so on. The embed code gives you a couple options. It gives you a desktop version of the code, which is kind of your standard JavaScript over here. You just embed that. Or you can have a mobile version, which I recommend because it'll work on any size screen. It narrows it down a little bit because it's a vertical, stretching it into a vertical screen from a horizontal. It still, works pretty well, and your embed code is right here. Or you can just link off to it too.
But it's not real time.
It's not real time. It gets it down to the last 7 minutes. That's what it gets it down to. You need some time, to get the data in the system processed. But last 7 minutes is not bad.
But is real time planned?
Real time, for the time being, no. I don't think they're going to be able to make it happen that quick. That would take some pretty big backdoor engineering on this to make it work that fast and that much data. But it'd be fun to see. Even the real time for the debates is, delayed by 3 to 7 minutes. I think it is. They've narrowed it a little bit there. They're getting closer. Getting closer with it. Yeah. 5 more minutes? Yeah, sure. Why not? We'll make it work. We'll get a stack on the schedule here. I mentioned earlier, here's the Google Trends page. One more question on Trends, and I'll show you Translate real quick. Yeah.
On the graph there, I'm not sure if this is what he's asking or not. So like, if I embed that image here of the graph, is that streaming new information, or is
No.
it just what I just searched?
It's just what you searched on. Yeah, at that point in time, backwards.
Right.
It's not like Google Fusion tables or My Maps. If you're updating a spreadsheet, that it automatically updates on the site or wherever you've embedded said map. It'd be cool if it did. The only exception is those animated ones that they do during the debates. They found a way to build those out so they'll go in real time, nearly real time with them. Google Translate, really cool little tool. It's got some features in it that I wanted to show you. It'll translate 104 different languages. You can type a passage in there and go, Spanish is a little rusty. College was a long time ago. Hello, my name is Miguel, or can translate it into mine. It's got a toolkit down here, a website translator, that you can add a button to your website that makes it easy for people to translate your entire web page into that language. This was something I was working down in Arizona, at Arizona State, Arizona PBS for a couple of years, helping them redo their website and make it mobile. As I told them, I go, let's add this in because so much of our audience is Spanish speaking. So if you've got, you're covering stuff at a community level, if you've got, a large Russian community or a large Polish community, you might want to add this in. It takes a little bit of work, IT work to get it embedded and make it work, but it's well worth it. Another good thing about Translate is you can take an entire web page. This is a page out of El Espectador and you can drop that in, and I'm taking it from Spanish to English, hit the translate button, and it'll spit back the page just as it was designed, but it'll take all the HTML text, not anything in a photo or a graphic, and it'll translate it in English. So you can actually read it in English on that site. And also, it will help you, don't quote me on this, if you have a paywall on the site, oftentimes it'll hack around the paywall so you can still read it. So it's translate English to English. A friend of mine, I can't give credit for that. A friend of mine, the Lincoln Journal Star, put that to the test, and he told me, he goes, "This is great." He put up a paywall. He goes, "Here's how to cheat our paywall." It was great. It was great. This is unfiltered news. You can do a search in here, and this tracks Google News searches. And what are the top trending stories on Trump? Jeez. It's a Saturday, man. I'm barely awake. And you can see, here are the 3 most popular stories on Google News right now in the United States that have Trump in them. But I can jump locations. I can see how he's doing in Yemen. I can see, this doesn't go down to the state or local level. But it's interesting to see if you have a story that is in Google News and it's trending, and you're seeing a lot of traffic coming in, and it's getting gone viral maybe on social media. It's a good way to kind of track and see, and they're still playing with this tool, it's still in beta, but you can track and see how it's doing in other countries, which I think is a really cool little feature. They're going to add more stuff to this. But again, Peru, here's the 3 most popular stories, and they'll change country to country. A couple other tools I wanted to show you. Google Reverse Image Lookup. Let's say you have an image you want to fact check that somebody's been sharing on social media, and you don't know whether or not you want to retweet it. You see a suspicious photo like this, like a giant beach ball rolling wild in the streets of London. I look at this and I think somebody photoshopped a beach ball into the streets of London. I probably would not retweet this. But I can take this photo off my desktop, or if you have a URL, you can paste the web address in, and do a reverse image lookup on it. And what this does is fact checks the photo, finds images that are exactly the same or are similar to it. So I drag this beach ball photo in, okay, and it starts to show me some websites that it appeared on. It shows me other similar photos of the beach ball rolling wild through the streets of London. And I start to look, there's The Guardian, there's The Mirror. Okay, this is actually a real photo. It was a big display and a windstorm came, blew the beach ball off, and it rolled off and kind of died a terrible death in this pool of water. Now I look at this one, and this was very popular after Hurricane Sandy. Sharks swimming down the streets of Long Island, running for your lives. You get those all the time. And I was very skeptical of those okay, I'll go take a look and see, oh boy, false, Snopes.com. That's a quick one that tells you, that this one's bad. Another thing I get skeptical of is if I put it into Google image search, and it's been shared quite a bit on social media, if it doesn't show up at all here, I want to vet it a little bit more, and I'll tweet at the person that shared it. Weather photos are always real popular ones. They take something of the scene from the movie Day After Tomorrow, like storm coming in, and oh my God, it's about to hit Brooklyn, and no, it's not. And I show you an example of this for one reason. Time Magazine was duped back in 2010. This was their newsfeed blog, and what they put up was anything that was viral and viral on the web in real time. Real nice, except they didn't fact check this photo. There was actually a tornado warning in Brooklyn, but this photo that people were passing around on social media was from 1976. Somebody shot a picture of this photo. You can see it's kind of washed out, like those old Polaroid and Kodak prints that we had back then. And had they just fact-checked this, they wouldn't have had to run an apology/correction and take down the page. I did the screen grab actually before they were even able to take it down. Yeah.
Okay, so I think I've done this, a similar thing, in terms of trying to figure out, okay, that looks like a real photo, but I wonder how old it is, because I think it was about 2 years ago, there was all the hubbub, were trending about American big game hunter goes to Africa, kills a rhinoceros, and then they drape the American flag.
The photo was like 10 years ago.
They drape the American flag over their rhinoceros, and then there's a group photo.
Click under search tools.
Is it
look at time.
Yeah. Okay.
and you can do custom range, and you can
Okay.
go any photo before 2007.
Right.
And that's how you fact check something.
And, well, I had to strong arm it by just kind of scrolling through all of the examples and found out that it was on the, wherever it was taken, I don't know, but it showed up on the internet years before.
Yep.
Okay.
This more than often than not would catch it. I'll show you another example of one. It's a nice local one. It's a Chicago one, which I really like. And shot. It's right here. Verificationhandbook.com. It's a free online book. It's got case studies and examples of these different type of fact-checking video, fact-checking photos. Gives you links to some tools and things like that. Anybody you add to your staff or intern that you bring on board, make sure they read that. It's required reading for all my students for the first week. But here's an example of one. This guy tweeted this photo of some cars that were iced over next to Lakeshore Drive in Chicago. And it says, some Chicagoans won't drive away this until spring. The no parking sign there was put there for a reason. I live about 5 blocks off the way. And I'm looking at that, and I'm like, there's some things wrong with this. One, the water's way too clean to be Lake Michigan. Two, I don't recall any place where you can park on Lakeshore Drive right next to the water, other than maybe a parking lot up on the marina and some of those areas. But the trees didn't look quite right to me. And this is actually an exercise that they use for Google now on fact checking. And this photo is actually from Lake Geneva, Switzerland, 6 years before this ice storm actually happened in Chicago. Somebody put it up as a frame. So, this is a real easy fix. You just drag it to your desktop, put it in Google reverse image lookup, and look back over time, and you can see that it's from Lake Geneva, Switzerland. And at a completely different time than we're saying it's up there. So, technology gives people that ability to try and fool us and trick us, but the technology also gives us the opportunity to fact check it and say, yes, I'm not going to share that. It's really important, especially if you have young staffers staffing your social media accounts, to do that. Another tool, which is very similar to Google Reverse Image Lookup, is TinEye.com. It's really nice. They have a little browser plugin for Chrome or Firefox, or God forbid if anybody's still using Internet Explorer or Opera. You can do a plugin, you just drag the image up into your little tab in your browser, and it'll spit back similar results. A lot of times people ask which one's better. I almost always do Google Reverse Image Lookup first, and if I don't get good results out of that, I'll try TinEye as a backup. They're both pretty good. But sometimes one will give me something and the other one didn't. So this is a good kind of fallback. Google pays me to say that too. It's a good number 2 to the Google tools. Another good tool is, and this is linked off MikeReilly.com, is Google Test My Site. It allows you to test how mobile friendly your website is. This is a website that we redesigned just before I left Arizona PBS. And one of the things I warned them about, they wanted to embed the newscast into the homepage. I thought, oh man, it's going to slow down the page or load time. And this is a good way to check it. And it also tells you and gives you a report on how you can improve it. So mobile friendliness is scored pretty well, but look at the mobile and desktop speeds. That's an average. No matter how you look at it. And what's slowing it down is the video embed in the page. And it gives you this little report. The little report tells you, go in and change this. This code is really heavy. This video embed doesn't work plus you. And gives you advice on how to fix it, which is I think really cool. So that tool, it's testmysite.thinkwithgoogle.com. It's a long URL, but I've linked it off that page. So whenever you need it. Are we done?
For this round.
For this round?
I'm sure you're going to keep talking
Yeah, round
about
two.
the same thing in the next one.
Yeah, round 2. Boy, they get a 5-minute break, or do they just?
Yeah, about
Hey,
5 minutes.
go.
I think one of them's already, they're itching to get going already. So.
Cool.
Thank you.
Go back. Or you can-
No, new tools. The next one up is Google Fusion Tables and Google My Maps.
Oh,
So yeah, stick around.